Okay, I think we're live. Yay, we got Angel next.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
You're watching Tanner's Haunted Secrets
on the Outline Network. What they say.
I made a boo-boo. Oh well. Let's try that again with Unprinted pages. Oh well. Everybody knows I love chainers.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, hello. We are back with the right intro. I just got to enjoying my conversation with Angel so much that I clicked the wrong button. Welcome to the show, Angel. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here again.
So, since this one's definitely all about you, what type of stuff do you write?
I write a lot of different types of romance. My first love is always going to be paranormal romance. It's what I started writing. It's what I will always write. But then I decided to dip my toes into some contemporary romance. So I wrote a light BDSM romance. It is contemporary, but it's light BDSM romance. It's called Whispers of Hope. And then I wrote a mafia romance, and I have a that one's called Black Tears, and then I have Indigo Nights. It's a second chance secret baby romance, and then I decided to jump into motorcycle club romances. I also have some post-apocalyptic romance and some reverse harem, but I jumped into the motorcycle romance and I am absolutely loving it. So yeah, I kind of dip my toes into lots of different subgenres of romance mostly.
Okay. What is your favorite tropes to read?
Enemies to lovers. It's funny because I do have one that I've written that's enemies to lovers, and that's the devil's heir, but I don't write it as much because I'm not sure that I can get hit the trope as easily. I mean, I did with them because that was just how the characters talked to me. But I absolutely love when an author nails that trope perfectly and takes them from hating each other and wanting to strangle each other to head over heels for each other. It just gives you the warm fuzzies.
Oh yeah. Do you have an author that how they hit that trope so hard just made you love to go back and reread that book?
Maria Lewis. She did it with her Sworn and Defied duet. It's a very
Mhm.
dark duet, but the characters are really, yeah. They are definitely enemies to lovers, but like I said, it's dark, it's gritty, but I loved it.
That is awesome. Um which of your books do you wish people would read more?
That one's a hard one because I have so many out, and I mean it. My gut instinct is to automatically say The Devil's Heir because it's my favorite book. But
Mhm.
really, the one that I wish people would read more is Club Equinox or is Whispers of Hope. It's my Club Equinox book, mainly because of what the main content of the story is. Yes, it's a light BDSM book, but that is not the core of the story. I wrote this book. It's a novella. I wrote it in 2019 for a an anthology called Shades of Pink. That was a charity anthology for breast cancer awareness.
Mhm.
All of the donations, all of the royalties went to breast cancer research. And the main character, she has her name is Emma. Her mother or her grandmother died when she was very little of breast cancer. Her aunt had to have a double mastectomy at a young age. Emma herself is in her late 20s and gets a diagnosis of cancer and has to make the choice to have one breast removed and may have to go back and have the second one done. And she chooses to have both breasts removed. And throughout her story, her partner, who he helps her to realize that she's still beautiful to him. He helps her to build herself back up by the end of the book. And it's one that it was a passion project for me because my grandmother died when I was 6 years old from breast cancer. I don't remember her because I was so young. So it was a passion project for me.
I I totally understand that. Mine chose not to have anything done about it. And then it spread through her body and then she died when I was 13. I definitely am all for what that book is about and why it was written. So, yes. I'm sorry, I was not expecting to get on this level of oh,
I'm sorry,
crying so
I didn't mean to
fast.
upset you. I didn't mean to upset you.
No, I'm not upset. I'm just having trouble making my brain go somewhere else now that I'm like,
Oh yeah. Oh, I get it.
"Hi, Stefan." Go check out Stefan's Fractured Mind Publishing, guys. They have some awesome stories, and they
Hello.
just put out a romance anthology. Go check out The Monster I Love. Anyway, back to your stuff. Because we have to shout out Stephen and all those authors there. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
Now, oh, speaking of anthologies, I get to say something I've never got to say before. We get to be in an anthology together.
Yay!
On May 23rd, look out for this duet. You have all types of stories. And we get to be in the anthologies together. And my husband joined us with his photography.
Oh, that is awesome.
I'm just so, like, I didn't expect to get to have this gift. Their story. What about your story that you sent us in this anthology?
That was actually, I am a D&D gamer. I have been playing a campaign with a group from Canada. I met the group through a mutual friend. He's also an author. He introduced me to his group, and they welcomed me with open arms. We've been playing together now for 4 years. I started being the note keeper, and I actually based my story on one of our adventures. However, our adventure didn't end the way that my story ended. It went a different avenue. So I was like, wait a minute. I need to do something with, because this so I had to come up with an actual story for it to fit. So but it has ignited. There will be more short stories for that party, because that I've got to write more stories for them. It'll be based on my campaigns, because like I said, I'm our note taker, and I've been making up little stories for each of our adventures. So it's going to be based on those things loosely, but yeah, they're going to have more adventures to come. So
I can honestly say that's basically what I did with Calypso. I took my character and I took a question that the bar owner Mafok that we usually end up going to get supplies from it and so on. A question he asked me, and due to me not being able to get full permission, I ended up using what he said and based what my character does in the story around that. Yeah. So mine was based on D&D as well. I'm just so happy that you love D&D and you gave us a story.
In our campaign, what we did was we didn't follow through on the bodies being dumped. We went and talked to the lizard folk, and then followed on through on something that a quest they sent us on. But I was like, I want to finish up what happened here. I want to see what this is. I want to find out what's going on with these guys. So that's why that story ended up being the way it was, because I was like, no, I want to finish this up first. I want to wrap this up first, dang it.
I love that. So is it private, or do you guys put yours up?
We actually go on Twitch. He streams on Twitch. We play every other Saturday. We do play tomorrow night.
Okay.
We play from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. And do you guys have like the videos backed up on YouTube or something?
No, he just has them on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
So I can send you his live. Yeah, I can send you his. Yeah, he streams it, and it records it, so it's on his Twitch account.
Okay, cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So guys, yeah, this is awesome. You and your amazing imagination and your friends playing D&D, that has got to be so much fun.
Oh, it is.
So, okay. What has been like the coolest story idea that you've gotten and ran with it? It doesn't have to be from D&D. It can be from like anything, from like a random thing you saw out in the park or something.
Actually, the coolest story idea I've gotten that I've ran with so far is The Devil's Air. And that actually came to fruition because of the song Hurricane by the Band of Heathens. I got to pull up the lyrics because I want to make sure that I get it exactly right. And I'll explain to you why in just a second.
Alrighty. So, okay, I've never heard of the Hurricanes before.
No, it's the band is called Band of Heathens. The song is called Hurricane.
Okay.
The chorus, the band of Heathens. Yeah, this part of the chorus, it's the high black water, a devil's daughter. She's hard, she's cold, and she's mean. But nobody taught her it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans. The
Oh,
first time
wow.
I heard that, I was like, I need to write a story about that. And then I saw the cover for The Devil's Heir. It was a pre-made cover that an artist who is no longer in business did, and I was like, I need that. That was just perfect because
Oh, cool.
it has like a Rottweiler or something in the background, but it's got like red eyes. It made me think of a hellhound. I was like, that was just perfect. It was just yeah, those lyrics were, and I ran with it. I wrote that 45,000 word book in less than 3 weeks.
Holy cow.
Yeah, less than
Okay.
3 weeks, and it was done.
That is epic. Okay, guys, I have shared the song in the comments, and I've also put a link to it in the group. If you guys join the Unprinted Pages group, you can find it there in today's show. I'm trying to go back and put the backlog up from the beginning in there as well now that I've got it running. So, anyway, that is awesome. Who are they your favorite band, or what is your favorite band to listen to?
My favorite band is Queen. I've been a Queen fan since I was little.
I can't find
But
anything wrong to say about that because
but
honestly, I keep
I have an eclectic
replay.
taste with music when it comes with I mean, I like some country, I like some rock, I like music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, It's just if it sounds good, I'm going to like it. But I really do love the blues. I like the Band of Heathens. I like Mark Broussard. They're
Okay.
just, you know,
Oh, now I'm curious about your mixtape. What's on it? There's so much fun to be had with that mix.
I have a lot of Mark Broussard and Band of Heathens. I think I have some Ed Sheeran on it. I think I have some Nickelback on the. I've got an eclectic taste.
Okay. Yes, at some point definitely need to find out about your playlists. Do you have playlists for your books when you write them?
I have never done a playlist per se. I just have one whole playlist that I play on repeat when I'm writing. And it's just called The Writing Cave.
Stefan says he likes Under
Under
Pressure.
Pressure,
That
yes.
one too.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen a whole lot of authors put a playlist at the back or at the beginning of the story so you know which one songs went with the story.
Yeah. I wish I was that creative when it comes to music, but for me, it's just a matter of, I just need the background noise when I'm writing.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily focus on the songs. I just need the noise from it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just a long playlist on Spotify, and I've titled it the Writing Cave. And if I hear a song on the radio that I like, I'll try to get the name, or I'll try to remember, or I'll try to write down some of the words from it so I can look it up,
Mhm.
and then I add it to my playlist.
That is awesome. My
Or if
husband
someone
has
mentions a song and I'm like, I'd look it up, and I'm like, oh, I like that. Okay, let's add that to the playlist.
my husband's made me one heck of a playlist on his YouTube, so I just keep going back to that. Dude, okay. Um, if you could pick one author that you want everyone to read, one of the tropes you love to write, which author would you send them to?
EJ Frost.
EJ Frost?
Hmm.
Okay.
I was introduced to her through a giveaway. I won one of her books in a release party or a takeover or something. It was a couple of years ago, and she had this big list of, these are all the different tropes and things and I was like, okay, they all sounded really interesting, but I decided to go with Teddy's Boys. It was a reverse harem, and there was a couple of other things with it, and I thought, okay, that sounds kind of interesting, so let me check it out. I've never read her before. I have devoured every book she has written. She writes reverse harem. She writes it's paranormal, but she also writes daddy dom romances. She has
Okay.
it's her she has the daddy PI series. The with the Teddy's Boys, there's Teddy's Boys, Gabe's Girl, Quaternion. That's her Bad Boys of Bevington series. And then there is the Capricorn, which is book 4 of the Zodiac's collab that she did that is connected to that trilogy. And then she has Yulun's Daughter and Cathmore's Son, which is a duet that is also connected to those. I waited a year for Cathmore's Sons to be released because I fell in love with the series, with all the characters. Because events in Yulun's Daughter and Cathmore's Sons are mentioned from things that had happened in previous books.
Okay.
So you don't have to necessarily read the trilogy to read the duet. You don't necessarily have to read Capricorn to read the duet, but it is recommended to understand all the events. You will not be disappointed if you enjoy reverse harem. There is some enemies and lovers in there because Darwin, he is a Fae prince and he is an asshole. In the very beginning, I want to shoot him. I want to strangle him. I want to bury him, put him 6 feet under. In the first 2 books, by the 3rd book, I like him. He gets his redemption arc, but it takes 3 books to get to his redemption arc.
Oh yeah, it's like one of my favorite characters in one of Student's series. It takes 4 books to get to the point where, like, okay, I promise I won't stab you in the eye now. I'm starting to really love you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like okay, I like you now. You have finally redeemed yourself. We're okay now.
Yeah, he does a couple of things every so often, but by the end of the 4th book, I'm like, okay, now I'm in love with you. But yeah, okay. Where is your favorite place to envision your characters when you're writing? Do you have like a coffee shop where you like envision yourself sitting and watching like what's happening and then write your report on what they did, or what?
It depends on the book setting. Like with the Nola series, oh yeah, it's either Scarlet Flux, which is Emily's club, if they're kind of in that, or Little Eden, which is a cafe that they go to. And I can just see them sitting down, having their coffee and eating beignets and chatting, and all the ladies hanging out. Yeah, I see them doing that. So yeah, it just depends on the setting of the book. And like with my Merciless Few MC Connecticut chapter, I see them all in the clubhouse all the time. Which is why a lot of the books, the action and things, they're in the clubhouse a lot because,
you just love the clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Sage, you're going to find her in the nursing home a lot because that's where she's, as a CNA, that's where you spend the majority of your life. But yeah. I love finding out, like, going through and seeing what the author's favorite places from the stories are, and if they have you found a real life place like these that they're based on?
No,
or
not really.
Did you just take pieces and make them up?
Just took pieces and made them up. Because I'll envision like what it might look like in my head, and just kind of look for images online and be like, oh, a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay, that works.
That is awesome. Okay. When it comes to your shifters in your world, how do they become shifters? Are they born shifters, or are they turned?
They're born shifters. And in my world, if a shifter and a human get together, there's only a 50-50 chance that the child will be a shifter. And there's a chance that even if the child has shifter blood or whatever, they may not be able to shift. They may be born with all the other qualities, like, the faster healing and the strength and all those things, but not be able to shift. That is the case
Okay.
in Luminescent Lotus. Roxy is a shiftless shifter. She has all the other qualities. She has, the heightened senses. She has the strength. She has the speed. She has the healing. But she can't shift into an archipelago wolf. She's from Alaska. So, she's kind of shunned by some of her father is the alpha, and he does not realize that some of the pack actually shun her when he's not around because she can't shift. So they kind of treat
Okay.
her as an outcast when he's not around because of it.
Okay. Um, what when it comes to your vampires, are in your world, are they are they born, or do they turn people, or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both. They can turn people. They can be born. It really depends. I mean, there most of them, most are pure blood, but there are the outcasts who will turn people just for fun.
Okay.
They'll turn humans just for fun.
And okay, do you have a is there in your society, it can they be friends, or they do they have a battle going on, or are they just like copacetic with each other? What type of relationships do your vampires and wares have?
Oh, they're copacetic in my Twisted Fate series, which is where
Mhm.
I have all of them together. They have a council called the Aegeus Council that has demons, shifters, witches, and fae all in control. There's a leader of
Mhm.
each faction sitting on the council, so they each keep their factions under control,
Okay.
and they monitor, especially witches, if witches are, because the whole magic thing in their world, an unmonitored and untrained witch can be extremely dangerous, and that is the
Yeah.
case with Ariana, because her family, the entire premise behind the series, her family, several generations ago, made a deal with the Aegis Council that they would give up the firstborn offspring to the council in exchange for the council's protection. Well, when her mother was pregnant, she was pregnant with twins. The Aegis Council was not aware that she was pregnant with twins. Her mother gives birth to her sister Calix. The council's agent leaves with Calix. 15 minutes later, Ariana is born. They have a Fey Witch come in every 4 years to bind Ariana's magic so that and raise her as a human. She's attacked when she's, I believe it's 2021, by a trio of vampires. And that actually is the first time her magic manifests. But she's not just a witch, she has demon blood, and her magic is demonic as well. So I mean, there's a
Okay.
huge twist, which is why it's called Twisted, because there's that huge
Yeah.
twist in there. She's actually the only of her great grandfather Besramoth is a demon lord, and she is the only one of his many mates' offspring who has his magic in her blood. So
Okay.
he wants her to one day take the throne from him. So yeah, that's why the third book is called Twisted Future, because that's actually, her actually taking her honoring her agreement to take over the throne. But it's the council sends some people to some agents to find her, and
Uh-huh.
it starts out she wakes up in a trunk, and then she wakes up again, and she's tied to a chair, and this guy, licks her neck, and he's like, "Ooh, I can taste the magic on you." And she's like, okay, creepy dude, that's just gross. She's just
Yeah.
she's extremely snarky. Ariana is very snarky. I had fun writing her.
If anybody's not figured this out yet, the snark is what I come from. Not come from, but come for. I come from the snark and I come for the snark.
Yeah, but
It's both, actually.
She's extremely snarky. I had so much fun writing her.
Okay. When it comes to your witches, are they all born, or do some are can you learn?
They're born.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I've played with the idea of maybe doing a different world where they learn magic, but at least in this world they're born witches.
Okay. Well, I just want to know about this particular world that you have written,
Yeah.
or the worlds you have written that coincide.
Yeah.
And because as we talked about in the last couple episodes, well, now Mina, or all the sky. Okay, basically, LD Wosor's turning into two different sky names, but her
Yeah.
Mina Sky has the vampires and everything, has our Caliente Queen and so on. So hers have a totally different way of doing things than yours. And I'm like, okay, we had talked about hers, but she gave me you, and we need to know about you.
Yeah, and it's fun when authors have their own ways of, instead of everybody doing the exact same thing, And
Oh yeah,
I have a tendency. I like to take the trope, or whatever, and do it differently. Like with the demons, everybody writes demons as these evil creatures. Mine aren't evil.
No.
I mean, do they have magic? Hell yeah. But they're sexy as fuck. Yeah, they're in hell. The entire book is set in hell. They do cruel things to each other, but they're not, evil bastards. They're not,
yeah.
They're sexy as fuck. I'm sorry, but Maddox is onyx skin with black and silver locks, long black and silver locks, and black eyes, and he's just sexy.
Oh yeah, dude, that is what we want in this world, especially this world we got.
And like my mobsters, they're not the cold and cruel mobsters that you see all the time. Yes, they will put you in the ground if you touch what's theirs, but because they protect their family. But they're it's I like to take it and turn it on its ear, basically.
And that works. That's what we want, because your brain, I love your brain so far. I'm enjoying it, and if you can't tell, I'm excited about being in something with you, and I also want others to come find this. That's the whole point of the show. They need to find you. Okay. What? Okay, and in your series, because I can't remember which one links to this, are all the demons of the same physical looks, or does each of the demons have their own like characteristics?
Oh yeah, no, they all have their own different characteristics. Maddox and his twin, they're both very dark skinned, onyx skinned, and the locks. But one of the guys, Tanakh, his skin is green. He's very more greenish. It's because I think it's boring to make them all identical.
Oh yeah, it's very boring.
Yeah, this is the Hellfire series, and I do actually have another demon series that I'm working on called the Hellbound series, thanks to my new my new dealer, my new I call him my new cover dealer because he created a cover that I absolutely fell in love with and was able to get on it at a deal, and I decided to run with it and created a bunch
Oh
of
yeah.
different images for other covers. So that it's going to be called the Hellbound series, and
nice.
that one has horns and wings and but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. What do you have any shows that you love to watch, like Supernatural or Charmed or Buffy,
All
that
three of those.
you
You
take
just
stuff
hit
from?
three of my favorites.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're of the same heart on this.
I've actually been binge watching Buffy on Tubi lately. I'm up to season
Okay.
5, episode 10 or 11 now.
They collectively bought me all the DVDs, so I have those. So yeah,
Neat.
that is awesome. Okay. Do you have you taken any inspiration from those shows or others to add to your world?
I probably have without even realizing it. Probably. I mean, if I was to go through them, I'd probably be like, that's a little bit, because I like Spike. I'm sure there's a little bit of Spike in some of my vampires, like especially Zachariah. He's the one who licks Ariana's cheek and tells her that he can taste the power in her. Yeah, I can see Spike doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of makes me think of
doing
Spike
a lot
a little
of things.
bit. Yep. Yeah, so I probably do without even realizing it.
Okay, then that leads into 2 more questions. Team Sam or Team Dean?
Neither. I'm Team Daddy.
Team Daddy?
I'm Team
Okay, I
Daddy.
can take Team
I'm
Daddy.
Team John Winchester. I have loved Jeffrey Dean Morgan for years and years and years.
Okay,
Although
I
I do like the boys,
often.
but I'm 52, so
Okay, so you want Daddy.
They
I
were a
can
little too
understand wanting
young for
Daddy.
me. Yeah, they were a little too young for me in the show. So
Understandable, because I have loved him in different shows.
yeah.
Okay, and are you Team Angel or Team Spike?
Team Spike. I like the bad boys.
Okay. And which of the magical powers from Charmed would you want?
Pipers. To be able to freeze time and move things around, that would be awesome, because you can move things around and people would be like, wait a minute, wasn't that, am I losing it?
Oh yeah.
That would be just so sneaky.
Yes, and the random conversations they have. Can you freeze him and unfreeze the head?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. Okay. Oh, I'm there's so many ways this conversations can go that I had like a list of things to see where we went. And okay. Are you okay? Sorry, I'm trying to like
fine.
pull the list
You're
back
fine.
together.
You're
Do
fine.
you have like coffees or other drinks that you have found in real world and then you mix them together, make your own drinks in your stories, or do you just have favorite drinks in the real world that you've added?
I've kind of added some of my favorite drinks, like like caramel macchiatos, and I do use the white chocolate caramel coffee creamer a few times, that kind of thing, or white chocolate mocha coffee creamer in one. But I created in Wild Lilies, and I want to try to see if it would actually would work. I don't know if the spices would work together. But it's a tea that she creates called lupine spice. I don't remember all the ingredients, but I was like, I want to see if those ingredients together as a loose leaf tea would work. Just because I think it'd be cool to test it out, And when I in Midnight Orchids, I have Kylie, she's auditioning to be the new mixologist at Scarlet Flux, and I pulled up obscure drinks for her to mix up. I'm like, I want to try those because they just sounded good.
Now I've got to find the list of herbs you used and see how they.
Actually, I might have that. I might have that in my notes. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, cool.
Because I think I actually put that in my notes. If I remember right. I did. White tea with ginger, cinnamon, clove, and anise, A-N-I-S-E. So, I mean, it's like, it doesn't sound like it would be an odd combination. Because ginger, cinnamon, and clove go together. The only one I'm not sure about would be the anise or anise, however the heck it's pronounced. With a white tea. Yeah.
Pardon me? I don't know. I've never tried.
Yeah, so I'm like, I want to try it sometime. Make a loose leaf tea with it sometime and see what it tastes like.
Okay, yes. We now have it recorded so we can go back and play with it. And then we can add it and we can add them together and find out later. Okay, new plan. And then we'll have to get together and see what we think. Okay. What is your favorite thing to add to hot chocolate?
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows?
Yeah. And
and
a little bit of spiced rum.
Okay, because peppermint, spiced rum, and cinnamon are really good as well.
Oh, yum.
Cool. Okay. What is your favorite dessert?
Cheesecake. Especially blueberry cheesecake. I love blueberry cheesecake.
Ooh, okay. And what is your favorite meal to have before it or after it, depending on?
My favorite meal is anything Chinese. I love Chinese food.
Okay. Do you have a go-to order?
Yeah, usually it depends on if we're going to the little place here in town. If we go to the little place here close to us, I get the shrimp and lobster sauce with pork fried rice and a vegetable roll. If we go to the buffet, then it's just all you can eat thing.
Yeah.
But I that, or I will get shrimp fried rice with egg drop soup and crab rangoon.
Okay. Those are always nummy.
Yes.
Okay. Where do you like to go most though? Which one?
I like the buffet because I can get a little bit of everything that I like.
That is cool. Yes, I miss the one in Huntsville. They have a really good buffet. But they had put a new one there in Chattanooga that was really good. I don't know if you still go anywhere near Tennessee again, but yeah. Let's see. Where is your which place would you rather just go sit out and watch the people in your books? At the bar or at the coffee shop?
Probably at the coffee shop.
Okay.
Because the bars can get loud. Although it would have really good music because because Emily's only has live music. She doesn't do, it's only live music. Okay. And it's usually jazz. Cool. So it's usually jazz, except for on the nights when Venus Fly Snatch performs, because then it's all bets are off. A lot of times that's Aretha. Venus Fly Snatch is a drag queen.
Okay.
Her stage name is Venus Fly Snatch.
That's what I was thinking. You said Venus Fly
There's
Snatch.
a story behind that. There's a real story behind that, actually. I used to play a game called Perfect World International. I was in a guild called Drifters, and our leader of the guild was involved with the director. Well, he discovered that the director was also involved with like 4 other guys. So he and I were talking one day, and he said, she's kind of like a Venus flytrap, but different. He says because she's deadly to a man's ego, so she's more like a Venus fly snatch. So that's what we started calling her whenever we talked about her, was Venus fly snatch. So I put that story in my books. When Malcolm explains his stage name, he says he was dating, he was engaged, he was involved with someone in his pride. He's gay. And in my world, lion prides, no, they focus on procreation and building up the population of the pride. That's it. So, but he was trying to do the right thing. He discovered that she was, she couldn't, she was giving it out to anybody who wanted to have it. So he was explaining about her, and he says, she was like a Venus, he says she was like a Venus flytrap, but she was deadly to a man's ego, so she's a Venus fly snatch, and thus the name was born, basically. So,
I love that, and it's just one of those, when it's put together, it takes me a couple of seconds for my brain to smush together. But yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so
that is amazing.
It's based on a real story. And like, I really hope somewhere he reads that story or hears about it and is like, hey, I know who that author is because that's my story.
Oh yeah, I hope he does. And I hope he loves it. I hope he loves you and reads everything. I hope our viewers love you and read everything. Okay, which stories have we not covered today?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's Buying His Cherry.
Okay.
That one.
Buying his cherry?
Yes, buying, as in you're going to buy something, his cherry.
I was just making sure it was his, because we don't normally get the buying his cherries.
Yeah. That one, I came up with that one. A friend of mine was in a shared world where they were doing this, high society weekend auction thing, and they had someone drop out, and they were like, well, okay, we're trying to get someone to come in, and I was like, well, I'd be interested. However, the word count minimum was like 50 or 60,000 words, and I'm like, I'm barely making 25, 30,000 words right now. There's just no way I could do it. But I already had the idea in my head for a story. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to write my own. So I took a similar concept, but changed it out enough so that they couldn't say I stole their idea. It's still a high dollar BDSM club. It's still an auction. A friend of hers is a member of the club. She talks her into going to her son is fighting cancer. She's a single mom. Her son's fighting cancer. She's struggling to pay the bills, pay his medical bills and whatnot. And her friend talks her into going to the auction. So she does. And her boss, who has secretly in his head her name is Remy. She's a redhead. For 2 or 3 years that she's been working for him, in his head, he's been calling her Cherry because she's a redhead, which is where that comes from. He sees her up on the stage, and he bids $5 million to keep anyone else from bidding on her, because he gets a week with her. And he is determined to convince her that they belong together in that week's time. But there's a twist. She does not know that he is a dragon shifter. So not only does he have to convince her that they belong together, he has to convince her that it's safe to be around him because he's a dragon shifter. He has to reveal what he really is to her. And he does during, at some point during the week. And She accepts. By that point, of course, she's falling for him, and she does accept him because she's been attracted to him too, but he's her boss. She's like, this, we can't be together. He's my boss, kind of thing.
Oh
so,
yeah.
so yeah, I ran with the idea, and then I was like, I don't want it just to be two humans. That's dime a dozen. I was like, ooh, let's make this paranormal because
I love
my
anything
first love.
paranormal.
It's my first love. Let's make it paranormal.
I love this. Okay.
And then I have a twist on hockey romances coming out at the end of the year.
Okay.
It's called Ice in the Bayou. It is book one of my Bayou King series. You know how I don't think I've ever read a hockey romance that was not about just the hockey players. It's always the hockey players finding their partners. In Ice in the Bayou, it starts out with Luca. It starts out in Luca. Luca, he was a hockey player all through school, middle school, high school, college. He was being scouted for the NHL until an accident destroyed that because the passenger side of the vehicle looked like an accordion by the time at the end of the accident. It destroyed his entire right leg. He has pins and plates in his leg, so his career was over. He decides a decade later that he still wants to be a part of hockey. So what's a man with more money than he could spend in 4 lifetimes supposed to do? Because he helped his father's already lucrative business get into other things like tech and whatnot. He decides he's going to create his own NHL hockey league. And he hires the best PR rep to pitch it to the NHL. Of course, I can't use NHL in the book because it's copyrighted, so I just simply say the Professional Hockey League. So the first book is about the owner getting his happily ever after. The second book is about his best friend, who he makes the manager, who was also one of the hockey players, on the team, the college team. He gets his book. The third book, or he gets his HEA, and it's going to be a brother's little sister romance because Luca's younger sister has a thing for her brother's best friend. So it's going to be the brother's best friend and little sister trope. The third book is because there were the four guys they were best friends. 3 of them decided not to. Two of them did not continue with their hockey career. So Jack becomes his manager. Can't remember the other 2 guys' names, but one of them he becomes a world-renowned chef. Opens his own restaurant, and Luca convinces him to open a restaurant connected to the stadium, which he builds in New Orleans, which is why it's called Bayou Kings. The 4th book is finally one of the hockey players. He is the captain of the team, who is actually the last of the 4 guys. So he's the only one that's the 4 books that I have planned. Will more players on the team, as I'm writing the other 3 books, especially the last book, will any of those players that I end up creating start speaking to me? We'll see. But for now, there's only one that's an actual hockey player that's getting an HEA. But it's still a hockey romance because they're still technically part of the hockey team. Because they're still all connected to the team. So, like I said, awesome. I take a trope or whatever, I take it and make it my own.
Yes, I love this. Okay, where do you want people to find you?
I am at Amazon. I am at Barnes & Noble. I am at Smashwords, Kobo, Apple, Google Play, and Eden Books. for those who don't know what Eden Books is, because a lot of people don't, Eden Books is an online, independently owned indie author or indie romance. I got to make that specification. Indie romance author bookstore. So all you will find on Eden Books, and it's edenbooks.com, is romance authors. If you're looking for a dark romance author who used to be on Amazon and suddenly you can't find them, chances are, because they got banned or their books got banned, chances are you go to Eden Books and search for them and they're likely to be there, because a lot of the banned authors have migrated to Eden Books.
Yes. Amazon and their KDP are being off the chain. We're going to go with that, off the chain.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they're starting to mess with our stuff. And I say our stuff because they're even messing with a book that my oldest daughter and I was in. And it's like, what? So yeah.
Yeah.
Hence the message from earlier.
Yeah.
And to those who are wondering, Faith Speaks, if you cannot get the physical copy, please go to other places. You can still get the digital copy on Amazon. But I have been able to find it on Barnes and Nobles and all the other places.
I was gonna say, if it's not for sale at Barnes and Noble, and if you have the doc, I don't know if it's through you or through a publisher. I was gonna say you can set it up as a personal book through Barnes and Noble and sell it to people yourself. You can purchase the copies yourself and then get it to customers yourself that way.
Oh yeah,
I've done that. I've done that.
That is awesome. And Faycore is on. You'll find all of Faycore stuff, all of my stuff on Barnes and Noble, because that was my dream as a teenager. Like one day I'm going to be an author that can, and you can buy my stuff here. So yeah, and I finally reached that dream at 20 something. So yay.
That's awesome.
So yes, and yes, she will talk to you on Facebook because she talks to me on Facebook. She answers my comments
on Facebook. I am author Angel Nix, but I do have Angel Nix as a backup account. So if you message that one, that's logged in on another device all the time too. So if you happen to look at that one and say you can message that one too, and I'll answer you there too as well. So yep. I answer messages, DMs all the time. As long as you don't spam me with, scammy stuff, I will respond.
And as you figured out, I don't plan on scamming you. I want people. It's like,
absolutely. Oh yeah, I know.
Because yes, you can. She is in all of these books. Find all of these books and so many more.
See the pretty doggy hellhound.
And this, I am so excited about this. Yes. My friends, my husband and I, and Angel Nix, coming out on May 23rd. You'll find so many great things. And of course, Calypso. Calypso has come back in the Fantastic Tales book. And I hope you guys like her new story and her new friends. Well, one of them's an old friend but there's so many new friends. And the Violet Blossom Tavern, I've added that to the book. It's no longer just this fun little cooking group between my sister and I. It has its own place in the story. So please go check out those two anthologies and read all of her stuff. Come find me here at Faycore, at Owl Light Network, at Friday with the Library in the Blue Box, Corpse Garden Chronicles. And if you want to read me, Jennifer Elliott. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you all have an amazing night. Bye.